Good evening, internets. This is me, DP Knudten, for another edition of BOOKWARD BOUND. My 301-day journey from I should really do this to done. And what is that done? Well, that done is the creation of a brand new book by January 1st, 2021, that I will be uploading the press-ready PDF files to Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing's platform, so I can have a brand new book for 2021. Now, what is that book, you might ask? Well, it looks a little something like this. NONFICTION BRAND is what it's called. NONFICTION BRAND, discovering, crafting, and communicating the completely true, completely you brand you already are. And yep, that's the cover right there that I had to go ahead and design ahead of time because I'm one of those writers who will do anything other than writing in order to avoid writing. Yeah, I love to write, but I hate to write. Or I love to write, but I hate writing. Something like that. But needless to say, I've had this book in my head for 15 years, maybe even longer. And I've talked to a number of people who kept saying, you should write it, you should write it. But I never did. And well, now I think it's time to get over that hump and actually do the dang thing. And so I am, by doing these live stream in real life, in real time events every single night for 301 days total. But tonight, and I was just looking this up as we started going live, I want to see what episode that was. Last night's episode was actually episode 128. Wow. So tonight is 129. That kind of amazes me because I'll be honest, I wasn't sure I'd be able to do 100 days, much less 129 days, much less 301 days. So as you can see, I'm keeping true to my goal of actually doing these live streams, but it hasn't always been easy. 2 nights ago, had all sorts of technical issues with broadband, and I think got cut off after 5 minutes. But guess what? I still counted that because I needed to keep my daily streak alive. Last night, I started writing a section that, frankly, is probably the most emotionally fraught section for yours truly to actually write because it deals with the challenges that I've had in my career because I didn't create a personal brand until as recently as maybe 5-6 years ago. I didn't need to until I needed to immediately. And that I think is what a lot of people are facing. So I'm going to have to dig deep and talk about things that I don't necessarily want to talk about or write about those things because they're true. And so that's where I am right now. And that's the section of the book I'm actually working on right now. So let's head on over to Scrivener, the application I'm using to write this book. You can see Scrivener right here. It's got a nice big window where you actually do the writing. And then over here are the sections or chapters of the book. And I've got them color-coded so I know which ones are done, which ones are close to done, which ones are barely started, and which ones haven't been started yet at all. And you'll see, especially down here, a whole bunch of red. Yeah, well, I'm going to be writing those things. But right now, I'm looking at this one. Why personal brand? The X years are coming. How about your X years? I think it needs to be more personal. Yep. Your X years are coming. All right. Now, what are X years? Well, basically, that's when you become so experienced and excellent at what you do that you're expensive and therefore expendable. Yeah, that happened to me. So last night I kind of got stuck because I was getting not emotional, well, maybe a little emotional because I'm like, oh man, this doesn't feel comfortable talking about because I'm from the American Midwest and we don't like to talk about our feelings much, unlike other parts of the country where having your feelings gush out of you like vomit is a very attractive thing. In the Midwest, it's like, well, that's a little too much. Well, I was feeling like I was getting a little too much last night, so I wanted to take some time, think about what I'm doing here, if I feel comfortable with it, and then really think through what I want to say about what happened And I decided, you know what? Get over yourself, share of yourself, make it really personal, because the fact is a lot of people face the same thing. So I'm going to back up here and just read aloud the last paragraph, or the headline. The only ones who benefit from your lack of a personal brand are your competitors. As I write this, I feel incredibly uncomfortable. Coming from the American Midwest, it's hard to talk about failure, but that's exactly what the first 20 years of my professional career were when it comes to creating a personal brand. Like the shoemaker's children, I went barefoot for decades. And only when I desperately needed shoes after being politely ushered out the door did I start creating the thing I read about in Tom Peters' 1997 Wired article. Yes, I had a professional reputation, but those who knew what it was were a very select group. Mostly, made up very select group. But my general personal brand awareness was pathetic. It was pathetic. But my general was pathetic. Yep. And I had to immediately start doing something about it. Luckily, having worked on branding level stuff for a wide range. I think I might have used wide range earlier in this section. Yeah, I did. For everything from sugar, water to plywood. I knew a thing or two about digging deep to discover the completely true brand foundations of a product or service. And guess what? Every technique, process, system, and give me another word. Every technique, process, system, and give me another word for technique. That's what I need. So I'm going to open up the old dictionary app and look up technique. And go to this thesaurus because method is good. Method used for the big professional brands works equally well for your more personal one. Where's he? Comma. So that's what I did for myself. It's not easy, but if you really care about telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about you, the brand, the work is definitely worth it. And that's what this book is really is about. And that's what this book is about. Providing you with the tools and techniques necessary to dig deep into your already a brand already existing brand, and to discover the full truth about who you are, what you do, and how you do it in order to create a cogent and completely true story. That engages, attracts interest, engages, spurs engagement, ultimately grows relationships. Why? Why? Because your X years are coming, and the best Time to prepare for them is now. Okay, so this is 888 words. 888. Which would be maybe about 3 pages. And according to Scrivener, it's 3 minutes and 33 seconds. That's not funny. 3 minutes and 33 seconds to read this section. It's not yours. Where do I talk about it's not yours? I've learned a couple of written. If you don't own it, it's not yours. Not completely unique. I have. Where's the E on that? All right. I think I might hit that with some ITAL. Your X years are coming. The strength of your interest in reading this section is probably going to be directly correlated with your age. Correlated with. Why? Because some of you are going to resonate with its main theme from the very first sentence, but for others, especially those early in their careers, it might seem like some kind of eat your vegetables fatherly admonition. But whatever your age or experience today, the facts and circumstances presented here are coming at you like a freight train. It's just that for some of us more experienced folks, that train isn't just some distant horn at midnight, but a blinding light that's bearing down at life and career-threatening speeds. So much of this book is based not just on Tom Peters' brilliant idea, but on your author's personal experience. And some of that experience ain't so pretty. I think ain't so pretty. My father used to say far too often that if there was a hard way to do something, I'd find it. He wasn't wrong about that either. After 3 decades working in the creative minds of advertising, I have learned a couple of hard truths that I've written about extensively here. But the hardest of hard truths comes down to one simple phrase. If you don't own it, it's not yours. While I don't want to go all therapy on you, I think my experience is instructive and completely not unique. I have a feeling that some of the people reading this book of a certain age are going to share a lot of the same, are going to share a lot of the are going to have experienced a lot of the same things, but in different ways. And for those of you younger than a certain age, feel free to learn from my bad example. I'm talking about being so successful. I'm talking about being so successful, that you not only that you not only make it to your X series, but blow past them. But blow the doors off them completely. What are the X years? The stage in your career when you're demonstrably experienced, when you're unquestioningly experienced, demonstrably excellent at what you do. Okay, so I got a little bit of, okay, we need to go. I need to go 0.5. Got something weird happening here, and therefore immediately expendable. Now we'll make these 0.5. That's too much. Justifiably expensive and therefore immediately expendable. There comes a time right at the peak of your career when you're really on fire. When there comes a time when, not where, when you are really on fire. After years climbing the ladder, getting more experience and compensation at every step, there will be a point where if you don't own it, it's not yours, baseball bat comes swinging right at your forehead. You're tremendously experienced, excellent at what you do, as your pay rate can attest, and all of a sudden too expensive for the company that you don't own. In a situation like that, all it takes is a lost client, weak economy, or a global pandemic, and you're being politely walked out the door. And it makes economic sense, too. Why let 2 or 3 cheaper folks go when you can just get rid of the biggest salary in the payroll? That happened to me. That's happened to me twice. And it took me 2 hits from the "it's not yours" baseball bat to finally learn the lesson. But I did. For years, I worked more or less anonymously behind the walls of the agency, creating the work that attracted clients, converted customers, and raised awareness for a wide range of brands, except the most important one, my own. Sure, the clients I worked with most closely as copywriter and creative director knew and respected me, but none of them quit the agency when the agency quit me. It's a hard pill to swallow when you think that only you could deliver the kind of work the client needed. Deserved, then discover that was not, in fact, the case. Then to discover that was not, in fact, the case. But that's the power of branding. The client was buying the agency brand over yours, and why not? They had no idea what your brand actually is. They have, and why not? When they have was buying, and why not? Had was and that was and is. Had when they had no idea what was and still is. And still is. And such things can happen fast with absolutely no warning. In my case, it went from standing in it went something like this. My agent, the agency owner side and I, creative side, were in Cleveland for a new business meeting and had a few hours to kill. So what do you do in CLE when faced what are you doing? Waste a little time. Head on over to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Well, we're there. We had a great time checking out exhibits and seeing up close some of the artifacts that created our favorite songs. A highlight for me, seeing Jeff Beck's original Fender white battle scarred white Fender Telecaster. Wow. Very cool. One of the must get a photo stops. Must get a landmarks in the museum is Ringo Starr's original Ludwig kick drum with the hand painted the Beatles logo. What is that called? A drum logo. On the front. If you're enough to remember the first Beatles 45 p.m. single you were heard like it was yesterday. For me, it was She Loves You. Played in circa, let's see, I would have been about 5, so 66 and 1966 at Bert Smith's house in Valparaiso, Indiana. Just being so close to that artifact, just to that Rosetta Stone of rock and roll was thrilling. As we are oohing and eyeing as we are boss, I offered to take a photo of her in front of the display and began to do so. A very kind lady nearby offered to take a pic with both of us in it. As I said, oh, no thanks, comma, she's my boss. She said, I said, oh no. No thanks, she's mine. Just as she said, that's okay. We own an agency together. We had never overtly talked about such a thing, but never officially talked about such an arrangement. But we both knew we were working in that direction. With me being a believer of the work speaks for itself. I thought that's what the work was saying. And it appeared we both agreed. Imagine my surprise when just 4 months later, imagine that apparent agreement in the space of a single conference, Zoom call. Video call when I was introduced to the principles of an agency that were merging with the one I had been working toward owning for several years. No notice, no hint of, no notice, no hint such a thing might have been in the works, and no more need for my services. Cleveland was in July. My whimper of don't let the door hit you the way out was in November. July, August, September, October, November. So that'll be. I wonder if I can find that. Let me go to my calendar. Maybe it'll show up. Cleveland. Okay, there you go. June 10. All right. It was June. Cleveland. That Cleveland trip was in June. My whimper, my and that blind side was in November. Say la vie. Say la ouch. That's ouchie. That hurt. Say la. That's life. That hurts. Say la hurts. But guess what? Guess what? I didn't own the agency. So, and it clearly wasn't mine. All right. Ooh, that brings it to 1,300 words. Wow. Okay. So 1,300 words. It was 3 minutes 33 seconds to read. Now it's 5 minutes and 12. And 1,300 words, I'm figuring 300 words a page. So 1,200 words would be 4 pages. So this would be 4 pages and some change. If I can find a picture of that drum, I think I'm going to plug it in. Actually, I know I can. And actually, I'm going to do it. So why don't we do it? All right. I'm going to go to Safari. Where are you, baby? Right over here. Hey, and by the way, if you've got any questions or comments or anything like that, if you're watching live, go ahead and type a comment wherever you're watching this. Say hi. Let me know you're watching. If you've got a question about anything, go ahead and chime in. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to look up the Beatles. The Beatles drum. And look under images because I know I've seen it. And I got to find one that is actually not rights images. The Beatles. Learn more. It's copyright. I want to find the ones where I have to go look under usage rights labeled for reuse. And actually, I'll show you what I'm doing. This is the old Beatles. Yeah, this photo is from the Commons, Wikipedia Commons. And this is the actual image. So, and I can get the original file, and it's not rights managed, so I can use it in my book for free. And it's taken a while because it's a big file. I'm actually going to crop this a lot, I believe, because it looks to be pretty darn big. There we go. Now I can do, except that doesn't look like the original. Well, I'm going to download it anyway. Save image as. Book graphics. This is the folder I'm saving a bunch of various graphics from the book in. Now there is one that is perfect, but that's a Ringo Starr drum kit. That might be usable. So I'll save that as well. But you can see a Wikimedia Commons is a great place to get rights cleared stuff. I want to get the exact one. Not filtered by license. That's a stock photo. Alarmy. They'll come after me. They'll be bastards about it. The Beatle drum. Beatles drum head. Image may be subject to copyright. I like that one too. Anyway, I'm just going to grab one of these and plug it in. Hold on. Where's my book graphics? Here we are. Which one do I like the best? Place to put is right there. Oh, that's pretty small. This one I know is the top one is very much like the one at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Oh, I just want to get the right one. There has to be someone who's got a Creative Commons version of it. Well, I'll look for that later. I bet you there is no such thing as a... Well, let's go to Commons. Ringo Starr. I bet you most of his images are Ringo Starr drum kit. Some of this stuff is public domain, but I think I'm going to have to go through all of these photos to see if I can find one of him playing drums. Ringo Starr. Sorry, I can't do a Liverpoolian. Gerne Koch. Yeah, if you're a Jimmy Carr fan. Gerne Koch. That's one of those clips that I see too often in my Facebook feed. All right, well, I don't need to bore you with this other than to say I want to put this in here. And I want to go... this is not the... She loves the Beatles. You can still remember exactly how I felt when I heard She Loves You for the first time. Sigh. Oh, to be that young. Alright, so I'm going to go italicize, and I'm going to go caption. And what are my captions? I forget. 3? Yeah, there we go. Alright, So I'm going to leave this like this because I got a lot farther on this after I had a hard night of the soul last night. I decided, you know what? This is part of my story, so I'm going to tell that story. And you'll notice I haven't mentioned the person's name or anything like that. If they were to ever read this book, they'd know exactly who I was talking about. But since I don't think they care enough about me to actually read the book, that's okay too. I'm not worried about it because I've learned the lesson that I needed to learn from that situation. And I'm acting on that learning and not carrying the rest of the weight of that burden. That, I think, is a huge tip, which is learn the lesson of the situation, then discard the situation and carry the learning with you. That's how you can you can live a less weighed down life. Get rid of that baggage. It's like if you have a coconut and all you want is the milk and a little bit of the meat, you don't need the entire husk. Get rid of the husk. Enjoy that coconut milk though, and maybe some of that coconut inside too, because I love me some toasted coconut. Anyway, that's it for me tonight, and I want to thank you for helping keep me honest by making me come down here and write this stuff. And I really appreciate that, because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be down here actually working on this. Got a lot done tonight, feeling good about it, feeling good about feeling bad, or feeling good about writing about times where I felt bad. But that's how you know your book is honest, if you're not just telling other people's stories, but you're sharing of yourself as well. So I hope you're cool with that, because I guess I am now too. I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand podcast, which just came, the latest episode just came out on Monday. A new one's coming out this next Monday, and both of them, this week's and next week's, feature Jay Baer, B-A-E-R. If you don't know Jay Baer, you got to check him out because he's really fantastic. He's got a new book out, or it's a fairly new book out, called Talk Triggers, all about word-of-mouth advertising, and it's great. If you're in marketing, you should read it because it's full of ideas and great tips, and he's just such a smart, personable guy. And if you can ever see him speak, check him out because he's in the National Speakers Association Hall of Fame, Speakers Hall of Fame for a reason. He is that good. Anyway, check him out, and also check out the Nonfiction Brand podcast wherever you get podcasts for free. Just search Nonfiction Brand and you're going to find it, and you'll know it's the right one because you'll see my face in black and white on the cover of the album art or the cover art for it. And it comes out, as I said, every Monday. So check that out for sure. That's it for me tonight. Until tomorrow, and I will be back here tomorrow for episode 130. I'll see you later. And theme music, take us on out.